ill-conceived business podcast around the Business is Bullshit podcast. James Hornick, joined by my two best friends in the world, Jared Gibson, John Sarakis. How you guys doing?
Oh, buddy.
That was it? That's all we get this week?
That's
Jesus.
Good. That's fine. He's been thinking about that one for a little bit. I liked it. That played.
I wrote it down.
It was barely any noise though, so if someone's listening to the podcast only, they won't be able to see you wink and like shoot the gun at me. You know what I mean? So we have to kind of be
get everybody moved over to YouTube as well. You know,
yeah,
so
I can turn the volume up on John at that point, so there's a loud double click.
you could just keep it up the entire episode.
Click, click, bang. Anyways,
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about TV and movies this week. That's it. That's the episode. Episode 9. Getting dangerously close to number 10, which is the one that like Jared was really worried we'd never get to. Which I don't know why. You told me that like a week ago, right? You're like, I didn't think we'd get to.
There was a stat that like most podcasts never ever make it to 10 episodes.
I think it's
Well,
awesome.
I think
that's what I was
confided
going
in him
for.
with that fear.
What's that?
I think it's awesome that you confided in him with that fear.
Yes.
Like what I'm
Where's the
picturing is
fear?
just like, I don't think we're gonna make it, man.
The fear of failure that we would get to number 10. Yeah.
We'll get to 10. I feel confident now that we're doing 9 that I feel pretty good about getting to 10. 11?
Okay.
I don't know.
Only time. Well, let's see how
Depends
this
on what
episode
John
goes.
depends on what John says on this and episode and gets us kicked off of the platforms that we're on.
Okay. So, moving this right along, I think when we set this up, when we all first met, and still, like whenever we're out going to networking events or just hanging out or whatever, I think we have to acknowledge the fact we're all wearing the same color shirt. That's one thing we kind of skirted over this intro. So
Your shirt is actually that, like, you know, the gif or the meme of that shirt that like you can't tell if it's purple or blue or white.
Yeah,
That's you.
Yeah.
It's a very light gray, but it looks white.
Okay.
You guys
Well, heather
are
gray.
straight up wearing cream. Anyways.
Yeah. It's a Diddy party.
This is China
Okay.
White.
What?
It's gonna look very uniform. Bunch of white guys wearing white when we put this
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Anyways,
Like we're headed to masks.
oh god, there we go. There's the first. Mark down that timestamp, Jared. That's got to get cut.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just trying to talk about TV and movies here. So whenever we go out and meet people, we talk about TV and movies usually because that's just what we enjoy. It's probably why we're all friends. Is like we spent the first 3 networking events not talking about anything or anyone else, and we just kind of got to know each other's. So we want to get into why TV and movies have changed so much, why it starts to suck, why it looked good for a while. Anyways, but let's calibrate by like I'm curious. What are your favorite? Let's get top 5 TV shows, top 5 movies, maybe a little bit as to why. Just so everyone kind of gets a sense for everyone's taste here before you rip into the business side of this discussion. Jared, you first.
All right. So we're gonna go movies and TV shows. For me, we've talked about this. Like for me, music in movies makes the movies for me. Like music's good. Like we talked about like Last of the Mohicans. Like James, you said it was like a decent movie, but for me, like the music makes it so much better.
Well, that's a 10
I
out
would
of 10.
say, yeah, it's. I don't know if I put it at 10 out of 10, but so I would say, I mean, Braveheart, Gladiator, Field of Dreams, Major League. I'm sports movies too, and Interstellar. I think are my 5.
So you
Like I gotta
big
have one
epic-
comedy in there.
Yeah,
I
those are
like
all
epic
like
movies.
huge
I like
epic
big
movies.
blockbuster
movies,
Very expensive movies.
but the ones that have like the music, like think of it like Gladiator, Bravehearts, like Field of Dreams, like all like those theme songs and like the
Field of
music.
Dreams
throughout
doesn't feel
those-
like that's the fit with those.
Oh, it does. It fits.
Really? I guess
Why don't you go back and watch it and tell me you don't tear up when he has a catch with his dad?
Yeah,
at the
I
end?
didn't
mean,
say it wouldn't make me cry, but I'm talking about like the bombacity of the music and all of those others,
It
and
is.
then you have like a farm in Iowa.
It kind of like you said Major League. I've noticed that too. Like at the very end, whenever he like calls a shot, then has to round the bases and barely gets there. And Willie Mays Hayes, like the music they're playing, you know, really kind of gets you choked up. I don't know. Watch
That's not
it again.
Major
Yeah.
League. Wait a second.
Oh, Major League. You've never seen Major League?
That happens in Major League with the Willie
At
Mays
the end of
thing?
the movie?
When he calls a
Willie
shot.
Mays
Yeah.
Hayes. Willie Mays Hayes. Jake
Oh
Taylor
yeah,
calls
yeah,
a
yeah,
shot.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah, great film. Yeah, not a 10 out of 10, but it's a good film.
Those
Jared's
are
a
probably my
big
5.
epic blockbuster kind of guy with okay. TV shows. What do you got for us?
TV shows. So I put TV shows into 2 different categories. I can't lump drama with comedy. Like it's got to be 2 separate.
So you can't just choose 5 of the best? Like you're
No, I
going on an
can't.
island?
So I'm going. No, I cannot. I'm doing 10.
Well, I feel like he's hacking the system, and I want to hack the system.
Well, you could have hacked the system. I just didn't
I already
have the
did.
information last.
I knew
So
you were going to do this. so I
drama,
came
the
prepared.
shows, best shows for me: The Wire, Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders, Game of Thrones is still going to be up there, and Friday Night Lights is another one. Yeah, I know. Comedy is Seinfeld, Curb, Veep. It's Always Sunny. Like, those are my favorite shows. Cheers is on that list. But I'll say this, like, the thing about the drama shows that are good, if you surprise me in the middle of a season and kill off a main character like Game of Thrones did, like, and just came out of nowhere, those are the shows that are good. Not the ones where I got to wait.
I stopped watching it for like 4 years.
Expectations. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I like Friday Night Lights. I laughed because I liked that a lot when it came out, and then my wife started watching it like maybe 2 years ago, so really recently, and she's like, "Really, you like this?" And then I tried watching an episode while she was watching. I'm like, "Yeah, this did not age well." Like,
I still
Getting
teared
judged.
up on the final episode when he did the final "Clear Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose." I definitely had a tear in my eye.
Never seen the show.
John,
But
go to you.
I want. Yeah, so I guess a clarifying thing. So as we're defining these like shows and movies, these are shows and movies that you would rewatch incessantly. That's where I say like favorite. Okay.
I guess make your own determination of like why you would say they're the best, because I went very different. My TV list and my movie list are very different.
Because these are all so mine are all based on, these are things like if I was stuck on an island, like I'd be like, all right, I'm happy, because they're like there's like moods for them and whatnot. So when it comes to movies, Forrest Gump, oh man, just so good, just amazing. Oh yeah,
How many times can you watch Forrest Gump?
Exactly. I don't know yet, and I'm not going to find out because I just keep rewatching and rewatching.
Really?
Yeah, Ratatouille. Oh, such an underappreciated film.
We watched that this weekend again. I've seen it like 20 times.
So this is, I have an awful day. I mean, if Ratatouille's on, it's like, ooh, it was bad. Like, I mean, that's like a feel-good movie for me. Little Remy doing his thing. Dirty Harry, Big Lebowski, and Chinatown. Just
Chinatown's also interesting. It's a great movie. It's an interesting choice though as a rewatch though. That's another.
So good. There's just so much like little like hidden things in there and nuance, and Jack Nicholson and Houston. Oh, I know. And it shows. I know what's next. The Peaky Blinders, Mr. In Between, Seinfeld, True Detective season 1, and Luther. Little nod to the BBC there.
Yeah, you put me on to Mr. In Between. That's a very underrated show. It's a great show that not many people know about.
So
and True Detective season 1 is called Luther. Love Luther. I didn't think to put anything British on, even though I've watched every British show that comes out. I didn't put anything on my list, but okay. So you've got a mix of some high concept and some comedies. I like that. Okay. Your movie list, they're all good movies. I question the rewatchability of some of them.
He's judging.
Which
you.
ones?
You're
Which
getting
ones?
judged.
I mean,
it's cool. I love it.
Forrest Gump and Chinatown's a tough rewatch. I mean, Forrest Gump, I think, is also maybe a little bit easier, but I don't know. Anyways,
The noir in like Chinatown. I mean, it's a Polanski film, so I mean, you can judge him. I mean, he was a bastard raping a 13-year-old and all. But in any event, the movie itself just like has so much like substance to it, and it's a great film, man. It's just so cool. And Art Deco, huge fan of that. So anyway,
all right, I'll do my list.
all right, let's do it.
Movies. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Tarantino fan. I've actually gone back and forth there. Like, I used to say Reservoir Dogs was my number one, but I actually think Inglourious Bastards is his best film. And I say this because it's the one I've watched the most. I think it got ripped. It should have won the Academy Award. It was better than Hurt Locker. But even my wife, who doesn't like Tarantino, loves that movie and will watch it anytime it comes on. Or anytime like we want to. But
So
I
she
really think
dislikes
front to
the guy,
back.
but she likes the movie.
It was also, it doesn't dislike him, just like a lot of his movies are just so weird, but I think it's the one that it put the whole like alternate reality on alternate alt fiction or alt history on the map. You didn't realize it was alt history,
like revisionist history.
Yeah, like I think because that became like a big trend after that. But when you saw the ending of that movie, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Because like that's not how things went down. In Bruges still maintains one of the funniest films. Grosse Point Blank is just a personal favorite. I don't know how many times I've seen that movie. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Going old school, Casablanca. If you've never seen it,
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
It's a good one.
I saw that one on the list, and I'm gonna ask you about
A little pretentious.
that one. Yeah, this is James saying that I know my shit really well. And
I
if you
mean,
don't
it
put
probably
Casablanca on that list.
Was it between this and Citizen Kane?
no, Citizen Kane sucks. That was a tough
agreed.
watch. Casablanca is a really easy watch. Like I felt like it did, apparently like I wasn't around back then, obviously, but it didn't do great in theaters. But it has a very contemporary tone. Like Humphrey Bogart, like he's the basis of like Any Harris, he's the basis of Han Solo and James Bond, like all those characters like that came afterwards. Like his character Rick in that movie was kind of like the cool, reluctant hero type, and the humor like actually adds up. Like I took like a film class, like just a pedestrian one, not like a real one, when I was in college, and all the movies sucked. They were all terrible and boring. And I go into that one thinking like I'm gonna want to like blow my brains out. I'm like, holy shit, this movie's good. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Have you guys seen it?
Nope.
Oh hell yeah! I've seen it multiple times. It's a great film. But Humphrey Bogart, I don't think is the actor everybody put him on the pedestal to be. Like even just watching that film, I think I watched it like a few months ago. I was just like, I don't know. Yeah, and Inglourious Basterds.
I don't think there was anyone else like him around at the time. Was the thing, you know what I mean? So
no, I think he was definitely unique and distinct at the time. But I always feel like his teeth are going to fall out of his face when he's talking for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. And my number 5 was Back to the Future, which I think is a damn near perfect film.
Yeah. It is. Music,
it's a good movie.
Again.
It's a great music also plays, I think.
Huey Lewis in the news, baby.
Yeah, you were going to shit talk Inglourious Basterds, John. I think that was the...
The guy that played the Jew Bear, terrible actor. Like him in that movie. Yeah, I was just... And that's the thing.
Isn't
like,
he a director?
Yeah, he wasn't the linchpin of it, so like, you know.
I know, but when you have this like beautiful movie, it's just, and then you have like an actor that's just like this, just like, damn, I don't know, just takes it down a notch. So,
all right, TVs. Then let me get through my last list here. So, Twin Peaks. I'm going to assume you guys, it's also the most influential show in history. Like, we will not have any of the TV we had now if it weren't for Twin Peaks. It was like the basis of, hey, you can make a high concept, weird show that actually has like a ongoing story. Before that came out, it was all like Cosby's Show and Murder, She Wrote, right? So anyway, The Wire, agree with you guys on that. I know Jared said it at least. The Americans.
Oh, so good.
Excellent.
So that almost made my list.
I stopped watching. I stopped watching after season 2. I couldn't. It didn't do it for me.
Did you win the lottery or something? Was there something just like way better in life happening at the time?
Probably.
It was one of those shows you thought there'd be a bigger payoff, but like a quicker payoff. Like you thought like season 1,
slow.
like he was going to flip or something.
Too slow.
But it was a slow burn to build into a crescendo. Like that last season was an absolute banger.
I think
it was worth the payoff.
The dynamic between their relationship is just like awesome, because it's kind of like what happens in America, like, you know, versus like, you know, the male and females like just really, you know, becoming even in a relationship, one getting a little bit more powerful than the other, one wanting to go in a different direction, all the while like in the arc with, you know, shaping essentially like our country versus their country. So many beautiful things. That's a great show. Almost made the list.
Then I had to pick 2 oddball ones. Preacher, fucking love that show. If you watch The Boys is like a second-rate version of Preacher. Preacher was way better, top to bottom.
Is it the vampire show?
There was one vampire in the show, but no, it was more. It was basically making fun of. Instead of making fun of like superheroes like The Boys does, it was making fun of like God and angels and demons and all that kind of stuff. And like it was just, but the same type of like very harsh, caustic, and gross out humor, with a lot of violence, a lot of action, but it came before The Boys. Anyway, the number 5, I'm a huge fan of James. The Peacemaker show was great. I watched that show probably 3 times.
I don't think I saw that.
Peacemaker? What is that?
I never heard
John
of it.
Cena's show. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that was so good. Yeah, that was really funny. Yeah, there was only 1 season, right?
Yeah, the second season they filmed it. It'll be coming out soon. Anyway.
Okay, all right. That was a really good show. I agree.
So this is how we tie it all back to business.
Yeah, that's how we tie it back to business, because that actually is part of it. That was on HBO, I believe. So, what I think I saw a Matt Damon clip talking about this. So this is not an original idea, but it's one of those ones where he was talking about. Look, anyone's a little bit older remembers, like in the 1990s, movies were the shit. Like that's where everything good was in movies. Like TV shows. I mentioned Twin Peaks, but there were like 4 good TV shows the entire 1990s. Everything else is like a serial, a hospital show, a cop show. But like there were so many good mid-budget movies in the 90s that's really that people got excited for that stuff. You had your big budget stuff. You had like your Independence Day. You had all kinds of low independent films like Reservoir Dogs. But then you had like Matt Damon's entire like library kind of like filling out, you know, the middle. And that went away. All of a sudden nowadays there's like no good movies out. Like when's the last time you saw like a like.
That's the question I was going to ask. When's the last time you actually... The last movie I saw in a movie theater was the new Top Gun movie, and I'm very glad that I saw it in the theater because it was awesome. I loved it. But I don't like. I watched the Dune movies. Like I watched the Dune movies, but I don't watch movies that much anymore. Are
you talking about in the theater or just in general?
In the theater, I guess I saw Dune 2 and I saw Top Gun are the last two movies that I saw in the theater. But I don't go to movies like I used to go to movies by myself in college. Like I would love to do it. Like it just gets my brain off of stuff. I just go watch a movie and it was great. And there was so many good movies back then, James. I agree with you. Like movies today are just very different.
Like Good Will Hunting was the one I should have threw that out there. Like that's like a definition of like a mid-budget movie. It wasn't a big budget, wasn't small budget, but
that's where he peaked.
Yeah, those types of movies just aren't made anymore, you know. And
Matt Damon's great, John.
Yeah,
bite your fucking tongue.
What's his other great movie?
I'm not going through the Damon catalog.
Because you can't.
All the Nicolas Cage movies, you know what I mean, that were fun. All the action movies and stuff. Like they don't make those movies anymore.
Yeah. Face Off.
Face Off, and Gone in 60 Seconds, and The Rock.
Welcome to The Rock.
Yeah. Anyways,
it's so good.
That stuff is just not done anymore. But yeah, I don't think I was a big fan of the MCU, which is. Forgot.
I knew it. I knew as soon as I brought up Connery, we'd get it.
No, you have like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrel. Like, there's so many movies from the '90s that like would fit that genre.
Well, those Guy Ritchie movies are great. Like, those
Snatch almost made my list. Like, that's where I was saying I was going to hack the system. Like The Departed, other movies I didn't name. Anyway.
And the reason why they don't make movies like that anymore is because the DVD market got killed by streaming. So, when you classically think of movies like in that they're made in the $15 to $60 million range, a lot of them wouldn't actually, like, they might break even at the box office, but you have to like 4x your what it costs to create one for it to actually make money. But they would bank on DVDs. The DVD sales is where they make money on stuff. Now the DVD sales are gone. Like those kind of movies can't actually make any money anymore.
I think TV got better.
I disagree with that. Yeah. I think that's actually
I do too. I agree with John. I disagree with that statement, James.
Yeah. So I think the DVD market just turned into the streaming market, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's part of the discussion. That's why.
All right, so it's going to be you can license it, so there's still money there, and licensing still exists. There's still television shows where they're going to pay for that type of licensing. So I think some of the other things that are involved is certain, like, so in the 80s the bad guys, and even in the 90s the bad guys were the Russians. Well, now the bad guys are China. Nobody's really saying that. So that's something else that they're not putting in movies, which should really be there if we want to have like authentic storytelling. I think the other part is, I know you guys are shaking your heads. I'll try to make it quick.
No. It's not that. I want to hear what you're saying, but I'm very interested in where this is going. But keep going.
The other thing I think that's had some impact is DEI, right? So people are making decisions from checking boxes rather than that authentic storytelling, which kind of even plays a little bit into the China piece.
I think it's algorithm-based decision-making, not DEI. So let's
but it's
two very different things. But
they are. But I think it's multiple things that have just got us into this cesspool of just really low-quality stuff. I think unions have also been a problem. If you look at there's movies that are going to come out, writers are going to strike to a certain point. It's going to hold off specific movies. So there's this appeasement that also has to happen there, which is also a money conversation. And then I also think it's just the ease and ubiquity of actually being able to create movies. There's not this like really high pressure condensed scenario. You have like Jason Blum films where he'll give you $2 million, do whatever you want. If you succeed, he continues to fund you, and he just kills it. So I think it's a convergence of all these different things that are making low quality movies.
Yeah, let's talk about each one individually though. So the first thing I want to say, because these are all great points. The first thing I want to say though is there's a difference between DVDs and streaming. DVDs is single unit cost. You make a movie, they sell each one for $20. Whereas streaming, it's an all you can eat sales system to the end buyer, and they're trying to flood their platform with as much their goal is to keep you glued to their platform as long as you can. Now, the problem is movies are only 2 hours long. Whereas TV shows, you can make a 10-episode season, which is 10 hours, which is one of the reasons why if you're licensing the rights to make something and you're putting something into production, it makes more sense to make if you're the way you make money is by keeping someone glued to their set and you're making a fixed cost, your revenue is kind of more fixed in that manner. You want to make a 10-episode season, not a 2-hour really good movie, which is why things have been stretched out. Now, there's benefits to that because TV's better now than it was. Like, that's the flip side of it. So I'm not...
You bring up a great point.
I'm more saying that's why things went from movies being great to TV being great, is because all those mid-budget classifications went the TV route. I'm just saying, but that's why movies are dead.
Okay, well, you bring up a great point. That's how they filmed Lord of the Rings, is like all one contiguous thing, and then they broke it up into 3 different movies. So that
then they
makes
sold
sense.
it 3 times, which was like the heyday
Exactly.
when you could get away with
Right.
that shit. Yeah.
I wish that there was movies that, like, every once in a while a movie will come out that I'm like, okay, I got to go see that movie, right? And it doesn't happen as much as it used to. I don't know. I mean, what movies were nominated for the Academy Award this year for Best Picture? I don't think I've seen any of them.
Probably not. I don't think I have either. I used to
Like back in the day, I used to watch almost every single one.
Same. I used to power through the entire list. This one I think I've only seen a handful, and I don't really want to watch the others.
Like some of the movies, like I'll tell you, like Friday nights, usually my wife and I will sit down, put the kids to bed, and then let's throw on a movie, and we'll have like an idea of a movie we want to watch, and then it's like, nah, let's just watch an episode or 2 of this show, right? It always happens because there's so much good TV on. That it just and a lot of these actors and actresses previously, and we've talked about this before, like weren't doing TV. They were only doing movies. So you went and saw the movies because of the big name actors. Billy Bob Thornton being the
Billy
first.
Bob's where it started. He
one.
said they had to twist his arm to do Fargo season 1 because he thought TV was below him. And then when he finally did it, he's like, this is way more fun. He has more freedom and whatever. And that's why he did Goliath, which was a great show for 4 seasons. That's why he's doing Landman now.
Yeah,
but then when he started doing, because he did that, I think it was the same year they did True Detective season 1, which had McConaughey and because you remember McConaughey was kind of seen as not very good actor, but then he did that Dallas Buyers Club and Wolf of Wall Street all in like the same year, and all of a sudden he was like, oh, this guy's a great actor. But I think a lot of actors realize if they want to be legitimately known as being solid, they have to dive into something that has like a longer run, like a TV show. That way they have more time to actually wrap as opposed to a movie, which is shorter.
I'll say this, though, like having 2 young kids, there's still really good movies that are coming out that are kids' movies. That are Pixar movies, that are Disney movies. Like there's still really good stuff that's coming out that is far better than the
Is it going
TV.
downhill though, compared to where Pixar was when in the Jobs heyday?
I think that my kids are getting older, so the movies are a little bit different. Like they're starting to watch some movies that I watched when I was a kid that I really liked. But like we just watched what's that movie called? Shit, I can't even think of the name of it. Moana 2. We went and saw Moana 2 in the theater. And it was terrible compared to the first one. The first one was great. Inside Out 2, great movie. Inside Out 1 is one of the best movies. I should have put that on my top 10 list.
So you're getting on a different. That's the other problem with movies right now. Is the only way they get made is if they can like potentially make $1 billion.
Yeah,
and that's the Marvel effect. It's like because the other side of mid budget movies died is. Why put $50 million into something to try to make 150 when you can put 200 in and try to make $1 billion? And that's how the math works these days. It's like you'd rather make one of those instead of 5 of the other ones. But the best way to make sure you can actually like try and make $1 billion at the box office is by doing something people already know and have some familiarity with, and it's part of like an ongoing franchise.
Question. Let me ask you a question. Do you guys think that the advance in technology and CGI and AI in movies should be responsible for some of the downfall of the garbage that's coming out right now?
Movies or TV?
Movies. No, I'm saying movies because, well, TV it's too, but like, I think that because they have the access to these incredible CGI graphics and technology, I think that a lot of directors are going overboard, and it's almost like when we're watching a movie. Like a big blockbuster, like Gladiator 2, perfect example.
Okay.
Why that just sucked.
I didn't see it. I heard it's bad from so many people that
it was fine. It was fine, but they went overboard with CGI in that movie, where it was like they had sharks in the Coliseum swimming around.
Yeah, which is historically inaccurate. Yeah, but it's not a saltwater tank. Like that was just stupid. Like insulting to everybody's intelligence.
But my point is that like. Why even add that? Like, if you didn't have the ability to add that 30 years ago, why are we adding that now? I don't know. It just didn't.
Because Ridley Scott is old as fuck.
Real.
That's the only thing I could think of. Like, that was just a really bad idea. And somebody should have talked him out of it. He didn't have Russell Crowe in there to tell him, like, no, don't do that. Or do this. Right? I think they just let him do whatever he wanted.
The thing is, I don't know if it's AI yet. I don't know how much AI is really being used for CGI. You know what I mean? It's just that, sure, CGI is getting cheaper, but I think it's just a dumb idea. Like, AI didn't make him put a shark in the Coliseum. It's just like lazy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, all right, so a lot of people hate on Marvel movies and whatnot. I mean, there's some good ones, man. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, like that's all CGI, dude. That's really fun, dude. That's a really fun movie. That's my favorite of like all of the Marvel.
CGI is great. Really I'm not saying it's bad. It's great, but I think that big directors and big movies are taking it overboard where it's like too much CGI.
And they're going to do that, I think, with any new innovation that's going to happen in media or entertainment. There's always going to be some clowns that are going to take it too far, and they're not going to make any money. And great, the system's going to.
It's the Michael Bay effect with Transformers. It's like if you have limited talent as a director and storyteller, just put a bunch of like robots fighting into it, and people go watch it.
Yeah.
You know, I think if anything, it's that. It's like,
you know what?
He peaked
That
with the
movie's
Rock.
on TV. If I'm laying on the couch and that movie, any Transformer movie pops on TV, I'm watching it. I'm glued. Let's go.
I don't know if I'm glued, but I got to be frank. Yeah, it'll grab me for a few minutes. Like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's fun.
All right, I want to come back to something because we were talking about he's saying DEI is the reason why movies are terrible.
One of the reasons, not in the entire reasons. It's a component.
I think what you're conflating with it is, in my opinion, is algorithm-based decision-making. If you look at, like, I'll give you the best example is like all the movies that come out on Netflix that have major Hollywood stars in them that are absolutely terrible still, and you're like, how is this possible? Like, there was the Kevin Hart one with the airplane hijack.
So
I think it was
stupid.
called
That's just
Lift.
an awful premise.
There was the Dwayne Johnson Christmas one with Chris Evans.
That was
there
on
was
Amazon,
the one
yeah.
with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz.
Didn't see it yet.
And it's because it's the point of these platforms is to try to keep people glued to them as long as they can, but that also means appealing to as many people as possible. So they have an algorithm that tells them, like, check every box of what's going to get someone to want to watch it. So you need a big name star, you need an easily digestible plot, you need a caper, you need Santa Claus, you need like spies. Like, what are the things that people like to see? But you take so many of these things and put them in cram them into one movie. Like, there's not room to actually do anything fun or inventive. You also need, I kind of liken it now, Jared, you have to back me up on this one. I don't have kids, I have nieces and nephews. Children like watching the same things over and over again, right?
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's part of human psychology, like the comfort of knowing you kind of know what's going to happen next. That's why it's a real thing with children. That's why they watch the same movie. But adults aren't that different. Like, we all like on some level, people have that. When we started the show by saying the stuff we've seen like multiple times, but that's also like if you get some big name stars, get some like basic generic plot points everyone's going to agree with, make it feel comfortable like they've seen it before, and then you get this garbage, but you get a lot of people watching it.
My kids have watched that one with The Rock and the Santa Claus one. Okay, Code Red, or I forget what it's called. Probably 10 times. And it's literally a movie that they watched, and then they watched right afterwards again. Like, it ended.
Just on loop.
And I walked back in.
Short-term memory,
what?
Right?
I'm like, are you guys watching this again? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't even, what like, there's certain movies that they just watched. Dude, no, during Christmas, it's actually a break this year for Christmas, because usually it's Home Alone 1.
But that's a Christmas movie. Like, that movie was
Non-stop.
designed for a Christmas movie for the exact reason that it's happening. Like, this is now going to be programmed to them as they age. They're going to continually watch it. Nostalgia.
But I also James, what you're saying is spot on. I agree with, but I also agree with what John said too. And I also think that there's an era during the cancel culture where a lot of those Hollywood studios pulled back on the movies that we loved, watching, like Hangover, like Old School, like Wedding Crashers. Like, they stopped making those movies because they towed the line with things that were said in the movies. What's the one where Tropic Thunder, dude? They could never make Tropic Thunder again.
I think that started way before that pandemic era, though. Like, I think comedy started in terms of what you get away with the movie. That was like mid-2010s, where people are like, because In Bruges was on my list. In Bruges is the same type of humor. Like, you couldn't make that movie now. But I don't think that's not a last 4 or 5 years thing. That was
because of the is that why?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You can't. We just said
the amount of things they make fun of in that movie. Right. Like, they make fun of.
How many do you guys know, and how upset are they? Like, seriously. Anyway,
I'm not even commenting. I'm just gonna let this one go. Continue, John. What were you gonna say?
So, but no, I agree with the data part, right? So, like, they can see where people are rewinding, fast forwarding, and so on and so forth. So they have the data. But yeah, so Jared, to that point, yeah, where they're inserting things into storylines that do not belong. Is one part, but yeah, they're also holding back in the other. When you have the combination of those two things, you now have the ingredients to make a shitty movie. right? And that's all it is. And that's why things are very, very similar. It's like you have the Hallmark Channel, and then you have these like crazy action movies, and then you have these little things that are in between. Nobody's really created something that's got teeth. Like the movie Help. That was an awesome movie. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, right? But nobody's creating a film that's like that anymore on that
Which one was
balance.
that?
It's just, man, it was with Emma Stone, and it was
Oh,
about
yeah,
like
okay.
racism
Yeah, I
in
saw
the
that
South. It was based on a book,
Yeah,
but now it just seems like it's either this far-flung, really esoteric thing that doesn't relate to anybody, so nobody's got to draw to it, or it falls into the other buckets that I had. But the good news is people are going to learn from this, and I think it's going to correct itself. We just went through a phase and a fad. Like a lot of movies in the 80s sucked.
Well,
Same thing.
What I'm concerned about is if TV starts tailing off, and this is where I don't know how much more time I want to talk about this, but like HBO has fallen off. Jared's going to disagree with this, but like HBO has fallen off. Apple is the prime show. They have committed to making high concept, high quality television, whereas HBO. They've straight up said their models changed, Jared. They straight up said they're trying to reduce costs. They're not committing to shows as long. They're doing more reality television. They're doing cooking shows. They're doing stuff like that.
Apple just said this?
No, HBO said this.
Oh, got it.
I mean, they've straight up said that like their entire business model around how they want to do television is different. And because I don't know if you like Jared, you like in the 2000s. Sunday night is you watch HBO. That was everything.
Yes.
Like every good show there was something that was on HBO. Now it's just not. What's on HBO Sunday night?
Well, here's okay. So I think that there's the other streaming networks release their shows all at one time. Like Netflix does that. Does Apple do that? Apple release all of them at once so you can binge watch it?
No, they'll release 3 and then go 1 to 1 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Because it's like why we watch network TV back in the day with like Lost and 24. It's like one episode ends and you got to wait an entire week, and the anticipation to wait an entire week to watch the next episode of the show. Like Sunday night, 100% I agree with you, where it was like Game of Thrones. Like I got to wait an entire week to watch an episode of Game of Thrones or Sopranos, whatever that is. I think that's definitely gone away. I would agree with you there.
We agree. So because that was, and I think it started. Because Game of Thrones was Game of Thrones and Westworld are the last two shows that I think had that Sunday night slot. But the problem is
I think
Succession
House of Dragons fell off.
Succession has it.
Westworld was. I mean, that was great for one season. Then it sucked, and they kept it on life support. It was. Yeah. But if you look at, because we're going down the shows like in the 2000s. Sopranos ran for 8 seasons. The Wire ran for 5. 6 Feet Under ran for 4 or 5. Deadwood for 3 or 4. Band of Brothers is probably the best World War II thing ever.
Oh yeah, Band of Brothers.
Curb's still going. Great. Carnival was on for 3 or 4 seasons. Rome was also one of the best shows. There's a lot of shows like that, but okay, Succession is the only one I see on this list of like the last 5 years that I think is actually on that level.
Keep going. Start at the top.
So Succession.
Yes.
Great. No. Euphoria. Okay, they've made 2 seasons since 2019. Okay, that's a problem.
All right, keep going.
Six
one of the I think one of the lead guys died in that. I haven't seen it. My wife's seen it, so I really can't.
Yeah, he did, but that was 2 years ago.
You guys should be a little bit sympathetic. Hey,
that was 2 years after the previous season ended, right? Yeah. Last of Us, 1 season. It was great, but again, it's only been 1 season. House of Dragons sucks. I'm sorry, Jared. That is not a good show.
It's fine.
Listen,
it's a show Sunday nights.
It's not a glowing. It's fine. It's like the 100th best show on television.
Dude, that first season where they like cutting a baby out of the first episode, I was like, dude, fuck this. I was like,
yeah.
It's just not. It doesn't have anything. The original Game of Thrones has zero humor at all. The original Game of Thrones was hysterically funny.
Because of what, John? Why, John? Why was the original Game of Thrones funny?
Because it didn't have DEI.
No, never mind.
No, you missed it. You missed.
I was baiting you. I was baiting you, but you didn't take it.
In Bruges bait. Industry is a good show, Jared.
That's right. Yeah, I got it.
What's that? What was the last one you said?
Industry is a good show, but that is not like.
I liked Industry.
Industry's
a good show.
Prime. It's not on the caliber. White Lotus, you can argue about.
Yes. Great. I like
it. A lot of people love
great show.
A lot of people. Oh, that show was fantastic.
Yeah, 1 season. Again, it only lasted 1 season.
Yeah, the kid could only kill so many people.
The Lakers show, Winning Time, excellent show. Canceled it after 2 seasons because that's what they do now. They cancel stuff that even if it's good. Perry Mason, which honestly I watched like 3 episodes, found it boring. And then Lovecraft Country, which was great, also canceled after 1 season. So like when they have really good shows, they just cancel.
You got data. Yeah. You're backing it up with data. I'm fine with that. But I just jump over to Paramount and watch every single Taylor Sheridan show now. So whatever.
As you lasso your children. Go get them, cowboy.
I don't know if we want to get into this one. What's the TLDR? Because I don't know how much longer we want to make this podcast go, but like I like Taylor Sheridan, but he's very mid, in my opinion. What I think is impressive about Taylor Sheridan is the fact that he was able to pump out 7 or 8 shows in 2 years. Like, if anything, they need to learn from it.
And some fantastic movies too, though. Like, I mean, Sicario, Hell or High Water. I mean, dude, those are awesome movies.
But the fact that one dude is able to pump out that many shows, and like he has like the whole system of production and distribution down, that's the most impressive thing. But then again, it's probably because he's repeating the exact same formula in every show he does.
There's other people that have done this too, though. You know?
Well,
like Aaron Spelling and some of the others.
Yeah. Taylor Sheridan's shows for me are like, I learn a lot from them. I know that they're not all like historically correct, but I think 1883, like, it kind of puts you in what was going on back then. I thought that was awesome. Like 1923.
Get past Tim McGraw and his wife. They just were not good actor and actress, man. And I was just like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, but like, I don't know. I just learned a lot from this. So, Sean, who's tapping?
That's me. I'm tapping.
John, Jesus Christ, dude.
I get bored easily.
You're distracting our 2 listeners. All right. How are we tying this all back to business? Because technically this is, I know we're talking about movies and what we like and what we don't like, but is this a business is bullshit podcast?
Well, I think ultimately... Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, John. You go.
I think ultimately it's content creation, and if that content doesn't serve the audience, or if you take external factors, what happens, you're going to lose money. So you really need to continually stay at the forefront, and what we've talked about are some of the business mechanics that do that.
Yeah.
There you go. Good tie back.
I actually didn't know how this wasn't about business, but no, I think
it's entertainment.
Yeah. I think people, when they look at TV and movies, like, they want things to be good, and then when they suck and you're like, why does this suck? It's because of the business side of things is ultimately it. Like as much as we like high concept art in our lives to always be cutting edge, like, we want Tarantino movies coming out all the time, and like, I wish Tarantino did a TV show. I want every show I watch to be like something new and exciting that no one's thought of. It wouldn't sell. There wouldn't be any money for it. There's a reason why he only does one movie every 5 years or so. And there's a reason why no one else has done something on the level of Twin Peaks, just because it's so fucking weird. Like, there's not an audience for it on a consistent basis. But there is an audience for Kevin Hart Netflix movies.
Kevin Hart's funny. I think Kevin Hart's a funny guy.
Yeah. We'll just
I don't hate him.
What show are you guys watching right now that is like you feel good about? Like, okay,
Paradise.
This is going somewhere. Paradise, me too. I'm with Paradise.
All right. Yeah, that one's good.
You
all caught up?
Oh, 3 episodes
in. I'm 8 episodes in, and yeah, so far it's been fantastic.
I haven't started yet. I'm actually doing I don't think I've told you guys this. I didn't watch Mad Men when it first came out, so I'm actually on season 3 right now. So that's good, obviously.
I've never seen it.
I just finished that Paris Has Fallen show.
I know.
Wait, neither of you guys seen Mad Men?
I've never seen Mad Men.
I've seen a bunch of the clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, I've never
season
really
1
seen
and
Blacklist,
2
but
were
I've
honestly
seen
kind of slow, which everyone told me. Season 3 definitely picks it up a notch, but it's good. So whoever's
Paris
listening to this is going to be like, how these 3
that.
idiots never see Mad Men here? They're talking about business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started Paris Has Fallen though, and so far that's pretty good.
Yeah, good action show.
Yeah.
All right.
I
think that's it. You got anything else, guys?
We should talk. James, John, we talked about. Do we have any sponsors?
Yeah.
Who hasn't pimped out their company yet? John, we know you have. James, you haven't.
Hire well. If you need to hire, we do it well. That's it.
That's so good. I love that. Yeah.
Hey, what movie? They don't call him the best color man in baseball for nothing. What movie?
Major League.
Yes.
Major League. Yeah.
Monty. Yeah. Next episode, we're gonna focus on things that James actually likes. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna talk the entire episode.
Shortest episode.
That'll last like 3
It's gonna take
minutes.
me way too long to come up with the show notes for that one. I think like we have to make sure we don't promise this because we've done this before and not actually followed up with it. But I really like the idea of we've done why sellers suck, salespeople. We need to do why buyers suck, why people buying products in a corporate environment are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yep.
I even share a little personal story.
Nice guy never buy. Those are the worst.
That nice
Smile fuck you to your face and then never talk to you ever again.
Smile to your face while they piss down your back.
All right, that's a wrap for episode 9 of the Business is Bullshit podcast. Great job, guys. We're almost there, almost to Jared's number 10.
Like, subscribe, share.
Yeah. Catch us on iTunes, Spotify, all that fun stuff. I'm James Hornick. I'm John Sarakis. And apparently Jared Gibson is outworks today. It doesn't even say his name.
It doesn't show up on...
I was going to say, I'm trying to read it. I'm like, I don't know if it'll show up on the thing or not. Yeah, Jared's here. We're signing off. Come back next time. Business is Bullshit. Later.